I enjoyed your book about the Lost City, and I believe you're the one who can help me find its treasure.
I have to respectfully decline.
I'm afraid I must insist.
The first question for you, Mr. Radcliffe, is you've played one of cinema's most famous heroes. Is it more fun playing the villain?
I had a lot of fun playing the hero as well. I think there's different things that are fun about both. There's definitely something very freeing about being a villain where you don't have to be, the emotional center of the movie or kind of the eyes of the audience or anything, or even, likable or sympathetic. So it's kind of fun not having any of those responsibilities. But also, he is a particularly fun villain to play. All of his villainy is motivated by sort of quite pathetic things, kind of desperate desire to get approval from his dad. And the fact that he's kidnapping Sandra Bullock's character, but all the while wanting her to think he's cool and to think that the situation he's bringing her into is cool, that was kind of a very fun thing to latch onto about this particular bad guy.
What was it like for you to see it in a packed theater for the first time?
It was great. I hadn't seen any film in a cinema in since before COVID. So for the first film you see again to be one that you are in was weird. It was a little uncomfortable. But you were reminded of what is great about seeing movies in that environment with a huge audience, because just listening to people react to things. We got a few great reactions. We got some great screams and laughs and all that stuff. My favorite vocal reaction that I had never heard before, I don't think, in a cinema, was there's a moment where Channing Tatum does something very kind for Sandra's character, and listening to 1,400 people melt around you was a noise I had never heard before in a cinema, but just an entire room of people just dissolved into a puddle. It was it was very, very sweet.
I didn't anticipate you'd say that. Channing has a funny scene in the movie. Sandra called it looking at his landscape. Did you give him any advice for that scene?
Funnily enough, no. I don't think Channing Tatum of Magic Mike needed any advice from me for that. I think we maybe have discussed going naked at some point, because it is something we've both done a lot in vastly different contexts. But no, I didn't have any advice. I think that was his day 2 as well on set, which was a real traditional actor's greeting to everybody. Just have to be hey, nice to meet you all, and now I'm getting naked.
You worked with a lot of cinema legends, but Sandra is a huge legend as well. What was it like to work with her on this movie?
It was incredibly cool. I mean, as you say, I've worked with a lot of people with unbelievable careers, but I wasn't necessarily aware of the sort of, the hugeness of people like Maggie Smith and Richard Harris and all those people on Potter that I worked with. I as a kid, I hadn't grown up watching their movies in the way that I did grow up watching Sandra's movies. I still a little bit have to pinch myself that I'm in a film with her and that my name is appearing on a credits list with hers. It's very good. And she's, luckily she is amazing and generous, and it was a real pleasure to work with her. And she's, I think it took me at least the first half of the shoot to stop being intimidated / in awe of her and start to be even remotely normal around her.
It's such an adventure we're having.
My wife and I grew up in the 80s. This reminded us of Romancing the Stone, Jewel of the Nile. Daniel, did you go back? Did you look at those movies? Were you a fan of those movies?
Those movies were not the ones that, obviously I totally get the Romancing the Stone, comparison. It's very, very apt. But there's also the thing that I had watched recently when I read the script for this that it reminded me of tonally, which I think is also in the same world as those movies, was actually The Mummy, which the Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, because there's something about the tone of that film that is, incredibly dangerous, perilous situations at all times, but everyone is still being very funny and quippy, and you really care about the characters, and you care about the love story, and it just holds so many different tones in it, and manages to be a huge amount of fun at the same time. So that was kind of my point of comparison to this. Hopefully we've gone somewhere, and I think it's successful. I do think the film manages to, balance it. There's great action, it's genuinely funny, and there's a legitimate romance that you're rooting for in the middle of it.
Was it easy for you stepping away from Harry Potter to do a villain role? Did you have to consciously think about what came next? It's been 10 years since the last film, and I think you've had a pretty amazing filmography. I remember you were here at TIFF just the next year with Horns, which Joe Hill wrote, and I love that book. And then you did The F Word. I think it's called something else in America.
We're in Canada right now. It doesn't matter. It's called The F Word. It has its original good title in that one country, so I can talk about it like that. Yeah.
Why did they change it? Is it because of what I think?
Yeah. It's just what you think. Yeah, it's just like you can't even imply the F word in people's minds with, I think, the rating that they wanted to get. It was something like that. So, but yeah. So sorry to answer your original question. Thank you. I've been really lucky in that people have given me opportunities to do lots and lots of different stuff. That it's hard to like make a plan in the film industry because you never know what's going to, what you're going to read. So I think it was mostly just to do with taking an attitude of like, okay, well, what would I like to do now? What are the things, what movies would I like to watch that I also now get to be a part of making? It's never been a case of like, oh, this is the exact right next role to make people see me differently or whatever. It's more just a case of, trying to build up a body of work that is different from Harry.
Everyone today is going to be asking you about Weird Al. We've seen some of the pictures that have come out. Daniel, how does that happen? Does Weird Al call you up? How did you get that role? I think I was shocked as everyone else, but then when I saw the first pictures, I'm like, wow, this looks legit.
Oh, cool, great, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I definitely I also had the reaction of kind of like, oh, why did you pick me for this? It was an offer, and they sent the script, and the script is brilliant. Al co-wrote the script with Eric Appel, our director, and it was a very, very, I was obviously like a fan of Al, and then the script was great, so it was a very easy thing to say yes to. But then I did kind of say yes and go, oh God, this is like the highest pressure thing I've ever done, just because I am a fan of his, as are many, many millions of people. So, we want to get it right. But I think it's going to be really special and cool and weird. I use the word weird a lot when it sounds like I'm making a joke when I use it about that film, but it really, it is. I spoke to Al a few times, obviously, when we initially were talking about the script, and then he was there every day on set, and I was able to have like accordion lessons with him, which was very, very special and cool. It was one of it's one of the most fun jobs I've ever done in my life. So hopefully it'll be as fun for people to watch.
So you sing and play the accordion in the movie?
I do, yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be so wild. Okay, listen, I was on Twitter the other day. People have fan casted you as Wolverine. But let's take it in a different direction. You just played Fairfax. Great villain. How about what Marvel villain would you want to play?
Oh, God. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, I'm probably not familiar enough with all of the Marvel that like the ones I know are all like the kind of like original ones that have sort of probably all already been done. So yeah, I don't know, man. I've got to brush up on my Marvel in order to just have better answers to these questions at the press junket, I think.
Okay, so we're gonna stick with Wolverine. Marvel, make your move.
Oh God, no! What have I done? It is one of those where like a joke. Yeah, not even a joke that I made, but it's already got out of hand. It's a very, very flattering, fun thing that somebody said on the internet. But again, for now, at least, there is absolutely zero basis in reality.
Hypothetically, if you do come back as Harry Potter in 10 years, what's your advice for future Daniel Radcliffe?
I don't know. You sure about this, man? I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's not something that I spend a huge amount of time thinking about. Like the reunion that we did was lovely, but one of the things it was like me and one of the other cast had a conversation about how lovely it was to be there, but also like how much we were like, oh, I'm really glad this isn't like every day anymore. You know, I've got friends who have continued working on all the other movies, on the crew, on the Fantastic Beasts, and all those things, and you know, it's crazy when you hear them talking about it. Of like, yeah, this is just, they basically carry on from when we left Potter, and they've pretty much been there ever since. And this has just been their world, and it's you know, it's awesome, and it's a fantastic job to work on. But I'm definitely not like running to get back. I'm really enjoying kind of being able to do lots of different things at the moment. So yeah, we'll see.
Behind these doors is a giant surprise.
Huge.
For the past year, Chan and I have been working on a little project.
And when these doors open, you'll be getting the very first look ever at the Lost City.
This feels better than I thought it would.
I know. I thought the same thing. I was worried too, because these doors are really just a metaphor for adventure.
Oh my God, you're still in it.
I know, it's crazy. All right, you want to get to it?
Yeah, let's do it. We give to you the Lost City.
Oh, hey, guys. Do you guys know there's nothing back there?
Daniel.
Yeah, we know.
Oh.
We know, Daniel.
The doors are just a
Metaphor for adventure.
Sorry, I screwed it up. That was nice, though, finishing each other's
Sentences, we know.
Wow.
All right.
All right.
Team.
So what,
I don't know. What do you want to get something to
what
eat?
was the last part of,
You hungry?
the thing of, yeah.
Are we done?